What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight, Season 17, Episode 1, Mile High Matrimony. We are in the great city of Denver, Colorado, the 17th season, and I just can't believe I'm doing this again because every single season that I review this show, I end up needing therapy at the end of it all because this really takes me through some emotional, like one great emotional roller coaster whenever I watch this show. But I keep doing it to myself every single season. So I don't know when I'm going to learn. So what I don't like about this show, my biggest issue with Married at First Sight is the manipulation of it all. How the producers and these so-called experts want to put people together and they want to feed it to us as, oh, we believe that Mary and Bob should be together because they're so compatible and they have a lot in common and they can do so much for one another. So this is the marriage that we think it's going to work. You know, Bob is liking in this area, Mary can help him with that, and Mary is liking in that area and Bob can help her with that. So this is a perfect match. And then it's nowhere near that. It's just two people who have no business being together, two people who are not compatible at all, and the experts are just hoping that they'll stay together long enough to get the ratings high enough. And I wish that they would just present it like that. Just present it in such a way that's a little bit closer to the truth. You know, just let us know, hey, we put two people together who we think are probably going to end up killing each other if they make it to the end of the season. So let's just hope that they have the tenacity and the wherewithal to survive and to get to the end and to want to choose each other and to overcome all of the obstacles and challenges that we intentionally created for them. That's what it should be. That's how you should present it to us. Don't present it to us like y'all are really trying to find people who are compatible and who have a really good chance of staying married, you know, after the show. Don't present it to us like that. Say exactly what it is. You want the drama, you want the salaciousness of it all, you want the tears, you want the arguments and the fights. And you're hoping and praying that it's going to end up like Married at First Sight Australia or Married at First Sight UK, where hopefully there's going to be some spouse swapping. That's what y'all are really hoping for. But anyways, I digress. Let me get off my little soapbox and get into the damn show. So this episode starts off with, we are already at a wedding and the groom is Michael. He is, I think, 38 years old. He's in the tech industry. He's the guy with the black curly hair that he kind of swept up over to the side. It's like cut short all around, and he's got that hair, you know, that big puffy hair that's swept over to the side, and he has his own sense of style. He marches to the beat of his own drummer. He is very unique. You know, he does his own thing. He seems to be very confident in who he is as a person. He don't give a damn what nobody has to say or what nobody thinks. He does his own thing, and to hell with everybody else. So he's at the altar. And the bride, so first of all, he's waiting forever. And on the bottom of the screen, it shows us how long he's been standing up there. And I think like 15 minutes go by, then 30 minutes go by, and the girl still hasn't shown up. Well, she finally shows up. I don't know how long it's been. She finally walks down the aisle. We only get to see the back of her. We have no idea who she is. And normally by the time we get to the wedding, you know, we know who both parties are. So she walks down the aisle and always sees the back of her head. And she tells him, as soon as she gets up there next to him, she says, I can't do this. And then it cuts to Michael in the back room or wherever with his friends, and his friends are consoling him and Michael is crying. So he basically got dumped at the altar before he could even get married, before he even knew who the hell his bride was. So that's where we see Michael, and we don't know what the hell is going on. The whole entire episode, we have no idea who his bride was. We don't see her at all in episode 1. And you know, Married at First Sight, it moves, you know, slower than molasses. We probably won't see her until about episode 5 or 6, because they're going to keep on dragging it until maybe like episode 5 or whatever, until we finally figure out who she is and what the hell happened. But moving on from there, we have Emily and Brendan. Emily is 29 years old. She's been single her whole entire life. She's never been in a relationship ever. And now all of a sudden she's going to be getting married. She says that she normally gets ghosted after date number 3. Now this is like a huge red flag to me. I don't want to talk too critical of this woman because I really don't know her that well. But if you have never been in a serious relationship, and she's pretty decent looking, she's an attractive young lady, you've never been in a serious relationship, you get ghosted after date 3, that's a huge red flag. Like, what's really going on? What's really wrong with you, Emily? So she's in sales, and we see her with her friends. They're going out to eat, and she announces to her friends that the show matched her and that she's going to be getting married in 2 weeks. Now, the friends tell us in their own little confessionals, they tell us that they really worry about whether or not Emily's ready for this because she's never been in a relationship. And they basically tell us that Emily's selfish. In so many words, they basically tell us our girl is real selfish. All she cares about is herself. She's only concerned about, what she wants and what makes her happy, and she doesn't really care about anybody else. So they basically tell us that the girl is selfish. Then we see Brendan. He's 28 years old. He's originally from New York. He is of Russian descent. He's very low key, very mellow. He seems to be very down to earth. So far I am liking Brennan. He talks about how his parents had a very tumultuous relationship, a very tumultuous marriage as he was growing up. He talks about how his parents would fight in front of him, scream and yell at each other, but they made it through. They've been married 30 years or 30 something years, and they're still together until today. And so his parents' toxic marriage, and that's exactly what he called it. He said it was a toxic marriage. He said his parents' toxic marriage affected his own relationships. So I don't know if that meant he was trying to make his relationships less toxic, or if it's trying to, or if it affected in a bad way, that he kind of like picked up some of his parents' bad relationship habits, and he ended up having toxic relationships. But they still stay together, and we do see them later on in the episode. So she goes to go look for her wedding gown, and her friends are with her. And I'm not sure why maybe her family doesn't live in Denver. I don't know. So her friends were with her when she was looking for her wedding gown. Now, the funny thing about this scene is that she was trying on several dresses, but she never came out to show her friends. She was just trying them on in the dressing room, and if she didn't like it, she would try on the next. So she did this to like 2 or 3 dresses, and her friends were like, where the hell is she? When are we going to see a dress? So she finally comes out to show her friends, a couple of the dresses, and she ends up picking a dress that I actually liked. It was very simple, very elegant. It wasn't too frilly. It wasn't all lacy. It was just a very simple body-fitting dress that really flared out at the bottom. So I liked her dress. I liked the very simple, classic type of wedding gowns. So the friends tell her that, Emily, you have really tough skin. You don't let anything bother you. Nothing really gets to you, but you're going to have to show some vulnerability with your husband. So that's going to be really interesting to see. Moving on to Lauren and Orion. I think that's how you pronounce it. Lauren and Orion. So Orion is 27 years old. He is Native American. He is part Navajo, part Apache, very into his Native American culture. We see him in his Native American, like a ceremony outfit, and he's doing the dance and everything. So he's very much in tune with his culture, very deep into it, which is, really nice to see. Now, he talks about how in the Native American culture, they believe that everybody has a female and a male spirit. And he said that he explored his female side because he had dated a man. He went on a date with a man one time, and then when the man kissed him, he realized that this was not for him at all. So he's not into men. I guess he's very strictly into women now, and he's also an electrician. I was like, thank God, he's gainfully employed. I think everybody on the show so far is gainfully employed, because we've had some seasons where, some of them were not employed, and it really caused, some major problems in the marriages. So then his bride is going to be Lauren. Lauren is 31 years old. She's a federal budget officer. She's African American. She's also very in tune with her culture. She says she's black. She says she is blackety black. So she is down for the culture. She is very much immersed in her culture. And she's very proud of who she is. She says she identifies as queer or a floater, but she leans more towards men. She says she will always be attracted to women, but she's also very attracted to men. And there are certain things about men that really draw her to them. They're the way that they're very protective, their masculinity, and she named off a couple of other things, but she's very drawn to men. So she's probably queer, but she leans more towards, being attracted to men. Her mom passed away just a few months prior to this. I don't know exactly when they filmed, but she said that her mom passed away in April. April. So that is still very fresh for her. She said that her mother wanted her to be with a very strong man. And, like I said, she's very much into her culture. And when she's gathered with her friends and her family, and she announces that she got picked, that they found a match for her, one of her friends asked her, so what happens if they matched you with someone who was white? What if they matched you with a white man? And she didn't answer that question. She just completely glossed over that and said, well, what if they matched me with somebody who's not white or black? Nah, sister, let's go back to the original question. What would you do, girl, if they matched you with a white man? Because you are down for the culture. What would you do if they matched you with a white Caucasian, someone of European descent? What would they do what would you do if they matched you with a person like that? That's what I wanted to know. But she skipped that question and she was like, well, what if they matched me with somebody who's not even black? So she says that even though she is in love with her culture and in love with her blackness, she is open to being with a non-black partner. And she says that she's hoping that they could learn a lot from each other culturally. So while she's looking for her wedding gown, she can't decide between two dresses, and all of a sudden, she starts crying, and she says that if her mother was there with her, her mother would have been able to help her decide which dress to go with. So it's one of those moments that was just sort of, unexpected. When someone very close to you passes away, yes, you understand that they're gone and they're gone forever, but there'll be moments when, their presence is really, really missed. And so she had that moment when she was trying to decide which dress. So her friends were telling her, well, you know your mom and you know what your mom would choose because you know her better than anybody else. So, your mom is right here with you and she's helping you decide. So she ended up choosing, whichever dress that she liked the best, which ended up being the dress that I liked more. I didn't like the other dress as much, but the one that she ended up choosing was the one that I ended up really liking. So that is Lauren. Moving on to Becca and Austin. So we see Austin, he's, I guess, in the late 20s, early 30s, somewhere around there. Oh, no, he's 31 years old. He's 31 years old. He's a native of Colorado. And he has a female roommate. And so when we see Austin, he's at home with his roommate and his parents come over for dinner. And the parents are not really crazy about this whole process. Maybe his dad is a little bit more open-minded to it, but his mom, she is not feeling this married at first sight process at all. And so the dad says, no, the dad doesn't like it as much as the mom doesn't. He's not really open to it at all either, because the dad says, most likely this isn't going to work out. The dad tells him that. The dad's like, most likely, yeah, this isn't going to work out for you. So he announces to his parents that he was picked, that they found a match for him. They were not happy. His roommate was trying to make up for his parents' lack of enthusiasm. So his roommate was like, yay, Austin, you made it. And his parents were just like shaking their heads like, look at this. So he says that he is really nervous. He says he's ready for this, but he is nervous. And his mom was like, yeah, you should be. You should be very, very nervous. Like, wow, thanks for the boost of confidence, Mom. So then we see his bride, or his fiance. Her name is Becca. She's also 31 years old. She's a wedding photographer. And she's either quirky or she really wants to be identified as quirky. You know how some people think that being quirky is cute? And so she just kept on saying over and over, oh, I'm so quirky. I'm really quirky. And the things that make her quirky that she named was that she listens to a lot of podcasts and she likes to play Nintendo 64 every day. So she thinks that makes her quirky. So she has an autoimmune disease that affects her spine and causes her a lot of pain. So her partner's going to he's going to have to be able to deal with that. And she also was recently diagnosed with endometriosis, but I think she got that taken care of. So she's coming to the table with a few health complications, and hopefully, Austin is going to be able to support her in this. So that's Austin and Becca. Moving on to Claire and Cameron. So who were these people? I can't. Oh, okay, I remember now. So Claire and Cameron. Cameron is 32 years old. He's the one with the. I think he's. I'm not really good with accents. So I don't know if it's Australian or New Zealand, but I think it's Australian. So he has the Australian accent, which he says helps him. It's easy for him to meet women because of the accents. People are drawn to that. He says that when he was growing up as a child, he was a very fearful child. He was afraid of a lot of things. But as he got older, he began to overcome a lot of his fears. He said the last fear that he was able to overcome was the fear of roller coasters. So ever since then, he's been very adventurous. He's very outdoorsy. He likes to rock climb, and he also likes to what did he say he did? Was it bicycling? He does a lot of rock climbing and a lot of, I forgot the other thing that he did that was very outdoorsy. He has these, I call them his foster parents, but because his family, I guess, is back in Australia, he came to America, I'm assuming alone. And so this couple that was a friend of a friend of a friend or whatever, they kind of took him in, and to me, they're kind of like his foster parents. So they take care of him, and they're his family support system. That's what I'm trying to say. So his foster parents are kind of like surprised that he would choose this process to find a bride, because they said that, Cameron is extremely picky. So, whoever they pick for him, he's going to have to be happy with them, even though, he's very picky. So we'll see how that goes. So Claire, she's 27 years old. She's a therapist. She is a quadruplet. She's got one brother and she's got two sisters. Yeah, one brother and two sisters, and they're quadruplets, which I thought was very interesting. I hope we get to hear more about that. She tells us, unfortunately, her brother had died by suicide, and she had seen him struggle, and because of this, she decided to go into therapy. And I'm glad that we have a therapist on board, because Married at First Sight, another issue that I have with this show is that they pick people who I believe are not ready for marriage. They pick people who are very broken, who have a lot of issues, who have not dealt with a lot of these issues. And I wish I could remember the names of some of the people that I feel like really, really showcase this. So they pick people who I feel like are just not mentally or emotionally ready for this process. The fact that Claire is a therapist, I'm hoping and praying that she has the mental wherewithal to kind of like be the more reasonable one on this show, that she's going to be able to act accordingly and to be able to make rational decisions and to be able to behave in a rational manner. And so she's going to be kind of like my saving grace, because she's a therapist. I hope that she utilizes a lot of the things that she tries to teach her clients. So because of her brother and his mental health issues, this is what led her into therapy. I think I've already said that. And she says that she wants a partner who is very goofy. Like, one of his characteristics is that he has to be very goofy. And I don't see Cameron that way. To me, Cameron is almost like the opposite. Unless he has a very dry sense of humor, Cameron to me seems very stoic and very, very, not goofy. Okay, he's like just very serious and, just not goofy. So I don't know what's going to go on, what's going to happen with that. I hope that works out. But they matched her with Cameron. So we get a glimpse of the bachelor party and the bachelorette party. At the bachelorette party, your girl Emily, the one who has never been in a relationship and is always ghosted after the third date, she was getting down and dirty at the damn bachelorette party. She was drinking a lot. She was drunk. She was having a damn good time. We also find out at the bachelorette party that Lauren, the one who's, about her culture, she is, she says that, well, you know what? I'm not even going to go there. Let's just say she's probably going to be very pleasantly surprised with, her groom and what he's bringing to the table. So at the bachelor party, Austin, the one whose parents are not very supportive of this process at all, and the one with the female roommate, he was not feeling the bachelor party. He didn't want to be anywhere near the strippers. He was acting like the strippers had cooties. He didn't want them to touch him. He didn't want to touch them. I think at some point he even took his coat and was covering them up. He was not feeling this at all. And the other guys were kind of like, what the hell is his problem? Like, what's wrong with him? You might not, okay, maybe you can decline the lap dances and the other extravagant things that the strippers are doing, but can you at least join the other guys and have a decent time? But I guess, it's his prerogative. If he doesn't feel comfortable in this environment and this is just not his thing, it's just not his thing. And we all have to just, respect that. Orion tells the guys that he is too well endowed for most women. And this is the reason why that I say that Lauren is going to be pleasantly surprised, because I think Lauren said that she hasn't experienced a man yet that's been too much for her. I think that's what she said. So Orion says that he actually has, well, I know he was being facetious, but he was talking about how he has a girth certificate because, he just is, I don't know, y'all, superhuman in that department. He says that he's very well endowed, that is to the point where it's uncomfortable for him, when he's with a woman, it's uncomfortable for him as well. So we're going to see how him and Lauren match up. Get ready, Lauren. So Michael, the one who was ditched at the altar, Michael was also there. But like I said, we have no idea who his bride is. But, Michael was there enjoying the festivities. So the first wedding that we see is the wedding of Brennan and Emily. Emily's the one, like I said, who's never been in a relationship. She's been single her whole entire life. So when she's getting ready for the wedding, the makeup artists are there, the hairstylist is there, everybody's getting ready. Her bridesmaids keep on asking her, are you nervous? Are you nervous? Are you nervous yet? And she's like, I'm not nervous. Do y'all want me to be nervous? Because if y'all are trying to push me there, you're doing a really good job with all of this, with all these questions. So they keep asking her if she's nervous, and she's always, she says, I'm cool, calm, and collected. I don't get nervous. So her friends were throwing a lot of negative scenarios at her. Like, what if his family's crazy? What if he ghosts you? And Emily was like, you mean, what if my husband ghosts me? What are you talking about? So yeah, they're throwing a lot of negative scenario. I'm thinking, do your friends like you, Emily? Are these your real friends? Like, what's going on? Are these people that the show paid to act like your friends? Because I'm like, why are they trying to make her feel nervous? Why are they trying to make her feel, it's already very stressful. Now y'all are asking her, what if his family's crazy? Or what if your husband ghosts you? Like, what are y'all doing? So the nerves finally catch up to her right before she's supposed to walk down the aisle. Excuse me. She gets very nervous. She starts sweating profusely. I'm thinking it's like fall or winter in Denver because there's snow everywhere. She's so overheated and hot that she has to like step outside just to cool off in her, sleeveless little wedding gown. So we see Brennan, before he walks down the aisle, he has a conversation with his parents, and his mom is very supportive of the process. If he wants to do it, she's going to support him. The dad is a little bit more critical. The dad says that nobody in their family has gotten a divorce. Everybody who's gotten married, they've gotten married that one time and that was it. So divorce is not an option for Brennan. He says so himself. He says, I'm going to stick by my wife no matter what. In fact, there was a scene earlier on in the episode when he was hanging out with his friends, when he announced to his friends that he got chosen for the show. His friends were like, well, what if, are you going to stay in a marriage that you're not happy in? Like, if y'all just don't get along, are you going to stay in the marriage? And he says, she's going to be my wife. So we're going to have to make it work one way or the other, because divorce is not an option for Brennan. So, hopefully, it is going to work out. So finally, it's showtime for their wedding. I thought that Emily looked really pretty. The makeup completely changed her. Okay, she looked like a different person to me. I thought the dress fit her well. Her hair was nice. Brandon looked really nice. So I thought that aesthetically, they looked really good together. So they exchanged their vows. They say the things that whatever they say, which really doesn't matter what they say, because in about 2 weeks or so, they're going to completely forget the promises that they've made to each other at that altar, and it's all going to fall apart. But they exchanged their vows. They didn't have a problem kissing. She wasn't one of those brides that was like, I don't know who you are, so you can't kiss me on the lips, and then turns her face to the side. No, they did a real husband and wife kiss. The wedding went off great. There's not much to say about the wedding. It was a great wedding. They looked good. They were happy. It appeared like they were happy with one another, but we won't know that until next week, because that's where the episode ended. So I'm trying to keep these as short as possible, because this is a 2-hour show. The show just drags and drags and drags, but I don't want my reviews to be like that. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.